Zen has influenced a number of art forms, such as the No dramas, the martial arts like Kendo, Judo, and Kyudo, the tea ceremony, flower arrangement, Japanese dance, and Japanese music. But the Zen influence has not been on their forms alone, for Zen has also created the foundation for the transmission of their traditions and systems of education. The secret of all the arts lies in negating the self, rising above the self to become completely at one with what one is doing. To reach that stage, there is only one way: hard and steady training. The master cannot teach the disciple the mysteries of the art, the essential and personal skills, as it were. The master can only recognize that his disciple has succeeded when he sees that he has achieved success by dint of his own effort and ingenuity. These arts are transmitted much as in Zen training. Satori in Zen is experienced as an extremely personal event. It is not something the master can teach. The master can only indicate the way, and after that must simply wait for the disciple to attain Satori by his own efforts. It is said that writing reveals the individual. There is a tradition by which a Zen priest expresses his experience of Satori, or state of mind, through calligraphy. This is called bokuseki, and has produced a specific kind of beauty in the form of writing. Hojo, two characters written on a framed wooden signboard preserved at the Tofukuji Temple in Kyoto. It was presented to the founder of the temple in the 13th century by his master in China. It has since served as a model for such writing on signboards done in other monasteries and is an outstanding example of handwriting. These written notice boards identify the geographical locations of Zen monasteries, their parts, and the titles of their officials, but they are not just practical in purpose. Putting up such excellent samples of handwriting serves to build a proper environment for training and to awaken a sense of religious tradition. To read and know the truth. This was displayed by a most revered priest and founder of the Daitokuji in the 14th century, before an event was to be observed in the monastery. This was also originally an item of practical use, but can serve as an object to assist religious devotion as it conveys the writer's ability. Ikkyu, a follower of the teachings of Daito, is said to have kept it always with him, hanging from his neck, even during his flight from the dangers of war. The satori found through Zen must be expressed and transmitted to others. To this end, Zen monks have used writing. Many excellent examples of writing on Zen themes were brought into Japan from China, the country that gave Zen to Japan. Ryosho was written by a Chinese Zen master, whom Ikkyu considered his own master. Ryosho means to rise to the sky and transcend the secular world. Zen priests write poems on their deathbed, summarizing their Zen. Such a poem is called Yuige. Ikkyu's Yuige went, in brief, like this. Who in the world could understand my Zen? I am the only one who can understand my mind. Even if Shu Tang, whom I've always respected as my master, were to come here, it would not be worth a penny. This was also written by Ikkyu, to refrain from all evil, to achieve the good. This summarizes all that the Buddha taught during his life, and which has been handed down through the centuries by believers. But Zen writings are not merely works of art to be admired or prized. Through them, those who follow the way can come closer to their predecessors, feel their spiritual power, and achieve their attainments and accomplishments. This was written by Hakuin, the restorer of Rinzai Zen in Japan in the 18th century. To be absent for a while is the same as being dead. Muga, or self-effacement, was written by Kitaro Nishida, who was one of Japan's leading modern philosophers and a practitioner of Zen. At this stage, Zen expression resembles Western abstract painting of today, but the intrinsic qualities of these two art forms are totally different. Western abstract painting destroys the established order in a search for a truer order. The artists try to discover this and express it. On the other hand, Zen paintings look in the opposite direction. They depict enlightenment, which has no shape to begin with, but which appears, forming itself into a shape. This is the Church of St. Elizabeth in Marburg, West Germany. It was built in the latter half of the 13th century and is one of the oldest and most purely Gothic-style churches in West Germany. In one corner of the church lie a group of sarcophagi. They are the tombs of feudal lords of that time. Here we find art centered on the human being, which persistently gives man a definite form. By contrast, Zen is a religion which aims, more than anything else, at liberation from any attachment to oneself possessing form. The rock garden of the Ryoanji Temple in Kyoto is the ultimate expression of breaking away from one's form-possessing self to forms without self. In other words, perfect selflessness. The garden itself is not very large. It is a simple rectangle, and within it 5 groups of rocks have been placed. A philosopher of the school of Nishida, and also a practitioner of Zen, said, "I find infinite tranquility and limitless depth in this garden. The rocks are Mu itself." Mu means void, but not void as simply nothing, but absolute freedom from everything that has form. Six persimmons depicted with black ink. The philosopher finds that they have something in common with the rocks in the temple garden. He said that true Buddhahood without form appears spontaneously here, and that this picture of persimmons is a Buddhist painting that rises above Buddhist painting. There is a sense here of making contact with the invisible, of knowing oneself without being a slave to form. Zen culture, in other words. This is the latter half of the No play, Eguchi. The intention of the woman who refused Saigyo a night's lodging was to admonish him not to cling to the things of this life, for this world is but a passing stage. The woman who spoke to him was in fact the spirit of the deceased woman of the pleasure quarter. True art is not readily expressed in words, but let us enumerate the characteristics of beauty on which Zen art relies. There are 7 elements. Asymmetry, not adhering to perfection or punctiliousness. It does not mean staying imperfect until perfection is reached, but purposely breaking away from formed perfection. Non-attachment, to be open-minded and detached. This is freedom because being without any form is of every form. Naturalness, that which is artless in its natural form without pretense. Simplicity, neither complicated nor gaudy, artless, simple beauty. Silence, limitless silence, the inward-looking mind. Wizened austerity. Wizened, solitary, and stern, dignified, like an old tree. Profound subtlety, a lingering memory hidden deep inside, limitless implication. The dancing spirit of the woman of the pleasure quarter, saying that this world is merely a place of passage, yet also pleasant if one finds enlightenment, disappears into the hazy light of the western sky, becoming the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. The No play Eguchi teaches us that the possibility of satori, or enlightenment, lies in realizing the transience of life and knowing maya, or illusion, to be illusion. And it states that the woman who realized this was a bodhisattva. That is the mind which has reached the stage where matter is void. Void is matter. Zen is a religion that searches for Satori, enlightenment. And Satori speaks to us in various forms of beauty today, too. It is indeed a religion that can produce beauty and become beauty.